welcome back everyone. So in this particular module, we are going to go now deeper into the horizontals of our Microsoft certification poster. So if you remember our Microsoft certification poster that we have spoken about in the previous videos, on your solution areas that you see in the column, there are 3 rows. One is the fundamentals, the next one is the role-based, and the third one is the specialty. So now we are going into the first row, which is more about fundamentals. So as you recall, as we have spoken before, the Microsoft certifications, which we call as fundamentals, are basically the level 1 certifications on the Microsoft Learn ecosystem. And this is typically designed for beginners or people who are new to the Microsoft technologies and concepts. So these certifications are an excellent way to build your foundational knowledge of Microsoft offerings and products. And this will act as, I'll say, a stepping pillar or a stepping stone to move towards the more advanced role-based certifications that you want to pursue as level 2 and level 3 ahead. So who are these certifications typically for? These fundamental certifications are ideal for somebody who is new to the space of IT or Microsoft services, as we have spoken. Second is somebody who is looking for a switch to learn more about Microsoft offerings and products. So they are also a good audience of Microsoft fundamentals block. And then the beginners, the technical beginners, I'll say. So anybody who is interested in a blanket, if I may put it, to know more about the Microsoft offering of that solution area where you are interested to build your knowledge on, this is the gate to open the world of knowledge that Microsoft services and solution areas has to offer. The key features of this is you do not need much of a technical expertise or prior expertise or working knowledge of these services. It's basically a fundamental, I'll say, zone. So no prior experience is needed because this is what you are going to learn here on this fundamentals journey. It majorly covers only basic concepts about the Microsoft solution area services, and it's a very high-level fundamental overview of what you are going to see in your level 2s and level 3s, which is more contextually role-oriented and delivery-oriented of this particular solution area subject. Each certification maps to a completely freely available learning path, and that learning path, which we have spoken in the previous lecture, is free to access. It is 100% reliable, and I can guarantee that it will be sufficient for you to start your preparations on the certification journey that you select here of the solution area Microsoft offers in that block. So broadly, as of this recording that we are doing in 2025 mid, I'll say Microsoft has 8 fundamentals officially available. A new one has been recently added by the acquisition of GitHub, so it makes it 8+1, but it is again not Microsoft curated. It is the GitHub fundamentals, which is something beyond the scope of this particular subject, but that makes the count as 9. So 8 Microsoft official certifications as fundamentals plus a GitHub fundamental. So now if you read the 8 level 1s that we have, they are typically the widely known Microsoft entry gates to the solution areas. In terms of the first one that you see, the Microsoft Cloud, Azure, anybody interested to know more about the core cloud concept, not just Microsoft Cloud, but the actual cloud, how it came into existence and how cloud started dominating the entire business market. So core cloud concepts, or typically I'll say things in and around cloud. So setting it up of availability zones, setting up of regions, going a bit more deeper into the other infrastructure services like storage, database. This fundamentals is very, very important to begin with. Once you go into the generic stages, then you go more contextually specific stages, which is Microsoft Azure and the services that typically it has for the cloud that you are going to build your journey on, the Microsoft Azure. So this fundamental is exam coded as AZ900. This is called as, the name of the certification is Azure Fundamentals, and anyone who is interested to know more about cloud, specifically Microsoft Cloud, and begin their journey on Microsoft Azure, this is your entry gate. The next one is Microsoft 365 fundamentals, so which we also call as Microsoft MS. The exam code goes by MS900. The focus area of this particular, I'll say, certification, Microsoft 365 fundamentals, is Microsoft 365 services, the productivity tools that it has, and also the security in and around it. So anybody who wants to know more about all the Microsoft products related to 365, the offerings, be it Outlook, be it Office, everything will be very properly outlined here in this examination, Microsoft 365 Fundamentals, MS 900. The third one, which is widely leveraged and very high in demand certification, that goes by the name of SC 900. That's the exam code, and the name of the certification is Security, Compliance, and Identity Fundamentals. So if you see this particular block, it's the core, the basics of what security has to offer, what compliance is all about, and what Microsoft has to offer in the name of compliance, the identity providers, the identity services across your Microsoft ecosystem will be covered here. So it is one of the very highly demanded and respectable zones of Microsoft learning path, and SC900 has a huge importance for anybody who wants to build their career and skills more around security and identity compliance, such ecosystem. The fourth one, which is again a very hot topic of 2025, Power Platform. The name of the certification is Power Platform Fundamentals, and the exam code that it goes by with is PL900. So this is more, I'll say, an introduction to the Power Platform ecosystem, introduction to the services that it has, like Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, what exactly is the Copilot. So you will see a lot of things related to the Power Platform. That is the next generation platform for low-code development, I'll say, or visualization goes here. It is called as Microsoft Certified Power Platform Fundamentals, the PL900 exam. The next one is AI Fundamentals. So it is also a very, I'll say, a new stream of technology, and Microsoft was one of the pioneers to launch this exam. The Microsoft Certified AI Fundamentals goes by the exam code AI900. In this particular fundamentals exam, you're going to talk more about, you're going to learn more about the AI concepts, the services that Microsoft and Azure has to offer circling AI, so the Azure AI services, and more in a very high-level view of what things like responsible AI or Gen AI is all about. So this is a continuously evolving examination, I'll say, as AI is changing drastically in the days that we are working on. But anybody who is interested to build a career in the stream of AI and topics of responsible AI, generative AI, and so on, this certification will act as a gate for you. And post that, you can enter into the specific contextual role-based learning path for AI. The next one is Microsoft Certified Data Fundamentals. It goes by the name of Data Fundamentals Certification, which has the exam code DP900. Now, in this particular stream, you're going to learn more about core data concepts, things like relational or non-relational databases, the Azure offerings of data, like the Azure data services. So anybody who comes from a database background or is interested to learn more about how database works and how exactly data ecosystem in cloud works, specific to Microsoft, this certification is your entry point. The last one that I'll say is the Dynamics 365 Fundamentals. Now, this is a very interesting and kind of niche, I'll say, fundamentals exam. This focuses more on, and this particular certification breaks down into two more blocks, which is the CRM component and the ERP component. The exam codes that we have typically for this is MB910 and MB920. And anybody who wants to learn more about the Microsoft Dynamics 365 CRM or ERP, the applications, the platform of it, and more around the functionalities of it will be going forward to MB910 or MB920 exams as their entry point to go much more deeper into the Microsoft 365 role-based learning. So majorly, I'll say this is the block that Microsoft has to offer in fundamentals. Now, typically, I'll say that most of these certifications, as you can see, I've logged in to the credentials portal in Microsoft Learn. And when I typically browse across it, the filters that you see on the left, if you apply your Azure stream, you will see all this. So the filters that you see, you have to be very particular in what kind of products you want to curate your learning path for. So if I select Azure, everything related to the Azure ecosystem of offerings in terms of certification is shown here. Azure AI Fundamentals, Azure Data Fundamentals, Azure Fundamentals, and Security and Compliance, Identity Fundamentals. So This is typically, I'll say, the filter you have to be very comfortable around. If you select Dynamics 365, you will see, the ones relevant, as we spoke about, the MB910 and MB920, the Dynamics 365 fundamentals for CRM and Dynamics 365 fundamentals for ERP. If you select more with Microsoft Power Platform, you will see the one which is applicable with the Power Platform ecosystem, which is MS Certified Power Platform Fundamentals. And same goes for your Office 365. If you select, you will see the MS900, which is Microsoft 365 fundamentals. Now, in terms of your initial filters, what kind of products you want to typically learn is what you will be filtering here. Broadly, if I'm not filtering anything here and I'm just filtering the level beginner, if you see there are 3 levels here in the Learn portal: beginner, intermediate, advanced. For the context of our topic now in fundamentals, it is always beginner. And this is where you see all the 9 certifications that we spoke, the 8 for Microsoft and the 1 from GitHub. So now, how exactly you go deeper into this? So if I take an example, let's say, I'll take the one which we spoke about, maybe the security and compliance identity fundamentals. So when I select this particular learning path within the Microsoft Learn portal, in a glance, I'll see everything in and around what the certification is all about. It's a beginner category belonging to the product suite of Azure. Typically, the role that anybody aspires to have after achieving knowledge and certification, security, compliance, and identity fundamentals is the security engineer. And the subject pool is security, so you will have everything in and around security in the learning path. And this course is regularly updated with all the recent changes that Microsoft has in their offering of the product. So as of now, what we can see, 26th of July is when it was lastly updated. That kind of affirms that this particular block is always up to date with whatever changes the product goes through. Now, this path will introduce you to who is the audience for this learning and how exactly you have to be comfortable around your peer group who is also learning along with you this particular journey of SC900. And this is where it becomes interesting. Now, Microsoft has given you an entire preparation module scope. So if you see this, the course is what you're aspiring to learn, the certification part of SC900, Microsoft Security and Identity Fundamentals. And in this, how exactly you have to be invested in is the modules, which they have given exactly what's the approximate time you need, how many modules or units you have in each and every one. And this will give you a fair planning sheet of how much time you have to invest in accordance to how Microsoft sees you need minimum to be comfortable for this topic and be eligible, I'll say mentally and knowledge-wise, to book the examination. So now, if I pick, let's say, the core block here, when I start my learning, there's the 900, and I start going into my journey. So if you see, the entire module breaks up into how you want to learn. So if I go and opt for the self-paced, there are also options of instructor-led training, which we will cover in the videos to come. But if I go for the self-paced one, which I typically love, and that gives me more and more room to sit and go and revise the topics again and again to familiarize myself. See, when you enter the world of fundamentals, even though the estimate says you need 10 minutes to know this topic, it depends. It depends how you may need. Maybe the topic is something which is very intuitive for you. So you may need maybe half of the time that anybody has given as a tentative outline. But maybe for a few people who seems to be a bit more interested to go deeper into the topic, they may need an hour, maybe 6 times more what has been recommended. It depends on how interested and how excited you are to know more about the topic. So self-paced learning is always good to, become more and more confident in what you are investing your time in to learn and grow your knowledge about. But as well, you have to keep a time check, or else the journey is never ending and you continue to learn and there is no time for you to be validated with the market and start implementing those. So you have the learning paths as per the self-paced block. You go through each and every block, and each and every block will have multiple sub-modules, and eventually you click on the module you want to learn for a particular day. That module gives you the parts of what you are going to know about in that particular module. Then you go deeper into it, you select the module, you start your journey, you go through the index, or I'll say the table of contents of how exactly you are going to learn the topics in each and every module. So if I start the security and compliance concepts, you see they don't just simply jump into the topic, but they give you a very pragmatic learning path. So they introduce you to the topic, they give you something called as the shared responsibility model of how things run for somebody who is planning security and I'll say the boundaries in cloud. Then the generic and market standard terms of what is defense in depth, what is the zero trust model, how does the world of encryption and decryption and hashing such things work, and eventually at the end, as we have spoken, assessing what you have learned and then summarizing your knowledge. So if you very structurally create your learning path through the Learn portal and follow it rigorously, it is more than enough for you to be confident on the fundamentals exam and go and book one. Okay, once you're done, my recommendation is once you're done with the learning path and you've completed all of them, go and sit for the practice assessment. There are very up-to-date official recommended Microsoft questions that you need to see for you to be familiar with what kind of questions you should be expecting in the real certification. Sit for this, and this will give you a very, very good understanding of what kind of exam questions, format of the questions you will be seeing. There is a plethora of practice questions available everywhere. Obviously, that the more you do, the more you apply, the more you practice, gives you more leverage above, I'll say, everybody else. But this should be a very, very important assessment for you to go to the other topics. So you should be finishing this as well, equally important. There is a sandbox. Now, if you have somehow, over the learning path, understood that you need to know a bit more detail about examining a few things that you have learned, you can leverage this sandbox. And then now you're ready for the certification. You take the module, you see what the certification policies and timelines seek from you, what exactly are you going to be assessed in the certification, and then start booking the certification through the channels. So in summary, I'll say Microsoft Learn Certification Hub that you just saw gives you a very pragmatic and systematic learning path. It is more than enough for any fundamentals exam to make yourself familiar with the topic, get comfortable in and around the topic, have the practice exams reviewed and attempt those. Optional sandboxes available to validate and test your knowledge that you have learned, and then book your certification. This is, I'll say, one of the best gates to enter before you start going into your level 2s and level 3s, which is maybe through this learning portal or through other self-paced or instructor-led trainings, which we will talk in the videos to come. At the end, one core call out that I have is most of the certifications that we call as fundamentals, the ones that you see on your screen, they are predominantly charged a standard fee of $99 US. That's typically, I'll say, the rate I've been seeing since a while, since a couple of years, or maybe if I'm not wrong, maybe since the beginning. But a lot of these certifications that you see as level 1 are also offered free of cost through, so that's an interesting point, right? So this is offered through multiple events or through multiple channels that Microsoft runs in a yearly calendar. We will talk about it in the lectures to come ahead. But if you are interested for your fundamentals exam and you've already planned to start your learning path here, there are options to book the certification directly from there or directly from the portal, or there are Microsoft events biannual or maybe quarterly, which gives you also exposure to the changes in their product, something new that they're bringing in their product, which is of interest to you. And towards the end, as an attendee, I'll say pass, you will be provided with vouchers to appear for the certification, because Microsoft knows your interest to attend that particular event shows them that you are potentially interested to know much more deeper and call yourself ready or certified in that journey. So we will talk much more about it in the videos ahead to come. But for now, this will give you a fair amount of understanding of what basically Microsoft Level 1 and the fundamentals exams that we just saw is all about. With that, we will end up this video, we will end up this particular module, and let's move to the next one. Thank you.